mean, at the beginning the film was meant to be written like a social drama, but the scriptwriter he wrote the script while being in Paris, and as far as he was writing, his friends, his colleagues, he was doing this script like part of a workshop, and everybody was telling him like there is so much comedy. So the big stakes were, I think, to trying to mix all these. And I know people who were like knowing about the story, and they were like, oh, like a sperm story, oh, this would look really horrible on screen. So I had friends who told me like, oh, I don't want to see this film. So I think this was in fact the most difficult thing to achieve the right tone, because it's not just a story about how some guys are trying to find a way out into a difficult situation, but it's also a very personal story. It's a family, a very important issue. So yeah, it was very difficult.
It's definitely more than a sperm story.
Yeah.
Any questions from the audience? Raise your hand and I will call on you.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, we have in the back. Yeah, nice and loud, please.
Okay, I thought it was a really funny film, first of all. And how did, was the ending in the film how it ended in real life instead of like based on a true event story?
So the story was about the end. It was the same in the real. I have to say the real life situation was something very not the whole thing. I mean, it happened in 2002, so not in the year where we placed the story, which was 92. So in 2002, the car factory was existing. It was one of the, I think, biggest car factories in Romania. And in the real life situation, it was an American actually who was about to make this kind of a deal with the Romanian government to buy the whole thing. And one of the union leaders was having this idea. I think he with some other friends were drinking a lot over the night, and like trying to find some solutions. So the next day they came up with this idea. They made a press conference. Immediately that the news was like all over the world. I found it on internet, like CNN, Reuters. At the end of 2002, I think it was a business magazine based here in US called Business Magazine 2.0 declared it the 7th most dumbest business idea in the world. So this is about the whole, I think, the real, but in the real life it just stopped there. I mean, nobody was going anywhere, and it was just our idea, the scriptwriter and mine, like, why? I mean, what if this might really happen? So, of course, doing the end scene was kind of a tricky. I mean, there were like 2 or 3 scenarios, like, either he would go back home and slap the wife and make a big scandal and creating a big fuss out of this, or to play it on a totally different tone. And I think for me, this was a much better way to make the whole story.
Other questions? Yes.
Yeah, I love the stakes. Thanks again. Very nice movie. That's a whole blending of very well put together. My question is, okay, what's up with Michael Jackson? Really? Was there some spikes in the movie? Am I missing something? What's going on?
It was an attempt on my side to try to locate the story in the early years after the Romania's so-called revolution, after the whole Ceausescu regime was over. So it was either 91, 92, 93, and I was like researching and also going back into my memories of like being student in Bucharest, and trying to observe all I tried to be as close to the reality. And then I discovered that in 1992, in autumn, there were like most of the Romanians also were suffering because it was kind of a crazy, well, let's call it a financial game, where all the money invested money, and they lost a lot just because there were some. So it was difficult from an economical situation, but also Michael Jackson was coming, and all over Romania he was perceived like Messiah, coming to Earth, and it was kind of a big thing from the president to the. And also it was a very close story to me. It was a very personal story because I was, again, a film student, and somebody came and said, we need some people, like 15 or 20 people, just to be I won there. I think my first, I don't know, $50. It was my first job, being the first and the only assistant, being between the stage and the first row of hysterical fans, and actually we were filming just the fans and just the girls, and it was kind of a memory which was very, very strong for me. So I was trying to locate actually the action, and also talking a bit about the society and about the whole climate. Yeah.
Nice touch. Other questions?
Yeah.
Yes, sir. Right.
How is the current economic hardship in Romania?
Nobody's selling sperm. No, sure. It's funnily enough, the moment when we released the film 4 weeks ago, it was everybody was kind of not accusing me, but making fun of me because they were thinking that I was perfectly timed the release with another big privatization of another big giant of the Romanian economy, which was it's like a chemical plant, and the government tried to find investors, and it was a guy like a TV, like a B or I don't know how B category TV star, you know, like a very bad, but with ambitions to be a politician, you know, and he actually bid it for this factory and he won, but he didn't have the money. So he was like doing, we have elections in like 2 months, and he made, you know, political, and he made big promotion for himself without paying zero money, just because he was claiming that he has $45 million to buy the plant. So everybody was, you know, trying to say, oh, like, you know, why did you do this release now? Because this guy is doing this, or they were like thinking that. But otherwise, I think the economy is far much better, and I think it's going in a good way. But of course, there are still a lot of like these big, huge industrial giants who are now for nobody. Like all the big industry disappeared. So from out of this big car factory is nothing now. It's like just a piece of flat land is nothing there.
Other questions? I've got a quick question just about your cast. I just thought everyone was wonderful in the film. Have you worked with any of them before, or did you do like a large casting process?
I did quite a large casting process, especially for Manuela, for the female part. The main lead is one of, I think, the most finest Romanian actors. Like he did a lot of shorts, a lot of features. He played also in co-productions, and I think the star of the cast is the manager of the plant. He's like again one of the top Romanian actors. He played in more than I think 150 films. He was nominated for the Best European Actor a couple of years ago. And Manuela is a I won't say up and coming. She also got Monica Briladeanu 2 or 3 main leads. She's living in Los Angeles now, and she's trying to reach and to make more films here in America. And yeah, I think I've worked just with a couple of them before, but most of them are, I think, very good actors. And the French ones, I did not do any casting in France. I was just talking with my French co-producer, Jean-François Sternin, the old guy, is again one of the, I think, the legends in France. He's such a great actor, and he did also films as a director. He did work with Godard, with Truffaut, many films in the 60s, 70s, 80s. And his son is again, it's his son also in the real life, but they never played before in a film. So it was an idea coming from the co-producer to make a film with them, because they were like not playing together at all. So I found this interesting, and we had chemistry. They liked the story, so.
You were very believable as father and son. We have time for one more question, if there's another question from the audience. Yes, right there.
Do you have any projects that you're
New projects. Yeah, it's film which is totally different as Stone from this one. It's a story about a guy who's committing suicide. So it's like a story about the last 20 days from a prosecutor who discovered that his moral values are totally different from the system where he's working, called Justice in Romania in 2002. So it's based again on a real story, and I'm trying to follow how a man could disintegrate just because of the political pressure and moral pressure and so on. So I'm planning to shoot this next year.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Drop your audience choice vote ballots at the with the ushers when you leave. Thank you so much for being here, and thank you so much to Tudor again. Get home safe. Thank you.